Oh, it's a remaster. Oh, I thought it was a remake. Oh, it's just a remaster. They're doing it again? They just did it. They just did an HD remaster for the PSP, and now they're gonna HDify the HD from the PSP onto the Switch. Maybe 2007. God, I'm old. Let's talk about it. This game, in particular, has cemented itself as my favorite game of all time because it's enjoyable with great music and voice acting, lovable characters, and it came to me at a time when I was still learning English, so it really was just a different experience for me playing a game entirely in English and figuring out what words mean, and it's just, I don't know, it just kind of stuck with me because of that. Like, I got it in a for my birthday in a PSP bundle. As you can tell by the title of this video, it's called
Riviera the Promised Land. Asgard, realm of the gods. Utgard, land of the demons. Ragnarok, the war between the gods and the demon invaders, cast the world into a state of violent chaos. Overrun by demons, Asgard teetered on the brink of destruction. In desperation, the gods broke the ancient covenant and created the black-winged grim angels. Each armed with a diviner, the angels descended to battle. The battle raged on, but through their valiant efforts, the angels ended the war. The demons were sealed away, but the gods would soon follow. Leaving their power behind in the heavenly Isle of Riviera, the gods entrusted the land's inhabitants to watch over it until their return. 1,000 years passed quietly. Signs of the demons' return were rumored throughout Riviera. The 7 Magi, proxies of the gods, made a decision for the sake of Asgard's existence. To activate the divine power of destruction, the Retribution. The Magi appointed this task to beings well suited for the job. Black-winged agents of death, the Grim Angels. Now, 2 angels shall descend upon the sacred soil of Riviera.
The story follows Ein, played by Yuri Lowenthal, a wingless grim angel. Sounds pretty simple, doesn't it? But it has some great twists and turns and genuine laughs and feels, and the main draw of the game really for me is its characters. I love these guys. Their interactions sometimes are priceless.
I wish there was a quicker way to get through here. Can you use your magic, Sierra? Magic? I might be able to do something. Like enlarge the roots or destroy the walls.
The ruins would collapse.
So, is that a no?
There's Ein, our lovable, goofy, and if you prefer through your choices, kinda jerky or dense protagonist.
I knew it! Ein is a pervert. Ein, this goddess is naked.
I didn't notice that. I just thought it was very artistic. So...
Artistic, huh?
Rose, his sassy familiar.
You suck.
Leda, who has you call him daddy. I mean, Listen to this voice!
Our duty awaits us at Riviera. You talk too much for your own good, familiar.
Thank you, Kyle Herbert. You did this. You did this for us! Fia, the kind voice of reason in the group. Your healer archetype.
Thea, daughter of Elendia, prayeth to the sacred tree of Elm. I have cleansed his soul. He is now free from darkness.
That was incredible.
It was nothing, really.
Lena, the spunky, childish character, your ranged stereotype character.
But why does it look so crappy?
Well, they are ruins. It's the passage of time.
So the ruins are crappy because it's the passage of time. I get it now.
Lena, do you even know what that means?
You're making fun of Lena, aren't you?
Would I do that?
Yes, you would. You're a big meanie.
Stop it, you two.
Serene, your tomboy Batgirl. Your melee AoE.
Sorry to keep you waiting, Serene.
What took you so long? I got bored, so I beat up some demons.
What? Really?
Here's what I took.
She really did it.
And then Sierra, the ditzy big sister of the group.
How adorable!
Huh?
I knew you wouldn't be able to do it. Who could throw away such a cute doll?
What?
Huh?
What?
Huh? Oh, look at the smoke coming out of its eyes. So cute!
The big dam! Seriously, if you want to hard mode your way through this game, never put Sierra on your team. She is pretty much your mage archetype. They're all fully voiced and you can also listen to them in Japanese if you want to.
ルーリのせいでびしょ濡れじゃない。セレネさんも私を引っ張ったじゃないですか。そうですよ。同罪です。
僕も誰かに引っ張られたような。
みんな喧嘩はダメだよ。
The first thing you'll notice when you boot this game up is that you cannot free roam in this game. Instead, it's divided into little beautiful screens, might I add, and you're given two modes, move mode and look mode, and typically you can go back from screen to screen. However, this will increase your turn count, which detracts from your final score at the end of the level, which will determine the amount of trigger points you go into the next level with. I'll go over trigger points in a bit. You cannot go back when a screen says next, as it will take you to the next stage. Levels are divided into stages, with each level usually having around 8 stages if I remember correctly. If you happen to jump, a character will usually ask if you really want to, as you may not be able to return. Look mode is your look mode. You can inspect the environment. Usually there'll be white marked directional arrows, which are for story progression or hidden items that are required to go further. You can go into a screen, get to a dead end, go into look mode, nothing happens. So then you go back, and then you go back again, go into look mode again, and there'll be like a glint or something that happens. So always be sure to inspect the environment. You might actually miss something. Trigger points are basically your currency to 100% the game, because you need trigger points to inspect optional stuff and maybe get event items or power-ups or anything like that. There will also be occasions where you have to play a mini game to get access to a new area or new items or chests, and if you fail, you lose! You get nothing! Good day, sir. Or you'll take damage, or get a stat decrease, or you'll increase your turns. If you win, you get access, so you better limber up those fingers. Trigger points are awarded for doing well in combat, with S rank awarding the max of 4. So the better you do, the more you'll be able to splurge on red trigger points and explore. Be careful though, as you might spawn enemies and make certain items unavailable for the rest of your run. So how do I get an S rank in combat? Well, let's go over combat. Combat is pretty straightforward RPG-esque. All of your characters have inherent stats and resistances, and each enemy has resistances you can exploit. Combat is turn-based, and you can easy mode it by turning on the timer in the options, or turn it off if you want more of an element of surprise as to whose turn is next. Enemies have their standard attacks and more enhanced attacks after their rage bar fills to the line. They will only use certain skills when enraged. Once it's completely full, they will use their over skills on you. The rage bar resets to the point of the white bar after that. Enemies will gain rage with the amount of hits you do to them, so if you want to intentionally rage bait, use weapons with quick succession attacks in one go. The rage bar will go down with each turn, so if you don't want an enemy to enrage and use their special attack for one reason or another, then you can elect to maybe heal for a turn, which will not add a hit to the enemy, and thus the rage bar will go down with the next turn. So there's a lot of strategic stuff you can do with that. Your team will always consist of 3 out of 5 team members, with Ein always having to be present, so you can choose 2 additional girls depending on your strategy. You can arrange them 2 front, 1 back, or 1 back and 2 front. This can be switched up once per turn during combat. After you determine who's on your fighting team, you will choose your weapons next. Choose carefully, as each weapon has a limited amount of uses and will break eventually, and you can only pick 4. Einherja being the exception, as it is a story item and thus has unlimited uses and also scales with level. However, it has wholly damaged properties, which make it sometimes less than ideal for a fight. Each weapon you acquire has a different attack property you can check in the menu, like will always hit a random backline enemy, will hit every enemy on the front line, chance to apply a freeze, resistance increase, etc, etc. So when you first go through the game, you have to get used to each weapon type, because each weapon type usually has the same attack pattern throughout the game, maybe with additional effects. So all you have to remember is how many hits a weapon usually does. And you can always see it on the combat screen itself. Overdrive is your special moveset ranging from a level 1 to level 3, but with the most amount of hits occurring at level 3. The overdrive bar is shared between all of your characters on the team. Each hit received or dealt contributes to filling it up. Each character has skills or doesn't have skills relating to a certain weapon. For instance, Ein's preferred weapons are swords. He can use a level 3 overskill with any sword you train. He can use a level 2 with rapiers and lances, and level 1 with bows, scythes, and staves. Other weapons like claw weapons and stuff he cannot use. He will throw them instead, and throwing is a suboptimal attack. But sometimes it's good to cheese a fight with a throw. You just have to hope it doesn't hit. But there's another overskill specialized to Grim Angels. Execution level.
Burn in the crimson flames of judgment!
Execution level skills will shatter the bar and make it unusable for the remainder of the encounter. They can, however, be used at any point in the fight at any overdrive level, even level 0, while other skills can't, with level 3 applying the most hits and using it to its full effect. That's why it's called execution level. You should preferably use it as a finisher for a high score rank. The higher the overdrive you used to end a fight, the higher your score. But just to be clear, you don't have to end with execution level. Your combat rank, which gives you trigger points, is determined by if anyone died on your team, what overskill level you ended the fight with, and how long it took you. A big thing that is different from other RPGs of that time, like Final Fantasy and stuff, is that after each round of combat, you do not need to use a potion or to rest, to heal or anything. You will be full health after each round of combat, and status effects like poison will be removed. Status effects like max HP reduction will not be removed. You only see this if you go into your actual character stats and you don't see it in combat. You just notice you have a lower number than usual. Weapons also don't scale. For every level or every other level, there will be the same weapon type, but with better attack or healing properties. This means that since inventory management is such a big deal in this game, you have a limited amount of space, you have a limited amount of items you can carry in total, and they have to spread for 5 characters that you can use. So you can safely delete items from previous levels that are absolute garbage in damage by comparison if you have a high stack of the newer items. Achieving a high score in combat is encouraged by giving you more trigger points to explore the area and get more items and stuff, but also you get items depending on which enemy you kill last, and also which rank you attained in combat after. If you kill a mage type enemy last, you might get a magic ring for A ranking the whole fight. But if you kill the mage last and you S rank the whole fight, you get a new wand for Sierra to use. And these S rank items are from higher levels. So you will get these items later, but if you do good in combat, you will get them earlier. But only maybe a 10 stack of them instead of a 40 stack, which you will get from chests later on in the game. It can be frustrating if you're trying to hone in on an item. It's a slot machine type thing, so you have to be really lucky or really good to like specifically target a piece, and sometimes you get absolute trash. So that's one of the downsides of this game. Like, it's really hard to target a stack of items. Staying on the topic of items, the last thing is the way you level in this game and increase your stats to admittedly ludicrous amounts in the later levels. Seriously, at one point I had a game where Sierra was immune to all fire damage. You can get ridiculously overpowered in this game so quick, but you have to put in a lot of grinding. And it is incredibly tedious to train in this game. The way you do it is by using items and gaining their overdrive skills. So if a character can use the item, you can go into practice mode at your own leisure and train until you've got the skill. Your items won't break in practice mode, unless you fight against slimes. Friendly tip from me to you. Do not ever elect to practice against slimes. You can choose which group of enemies that you fought before that you want to fight against and train against. Don't pick the slimes. You will regret it. You can also do this in actual combat, but that's if you want more of a challenge and just learn skills as you go. But the usual way to do it is you get a new item, you see who can use the item, you go into practice mode, you pick your enemies, you pick the teammates that can use the item, choose that item, and you just spam it throughout the practice until you've got all the points that you need to level up. Then you end practice or you defeat them for a bonus item. It's just an A rank item. You get your power up and your overskill, and that's it. And sometimes there's like 16 little points you gotta fill in. So you gotta wait your turn 16 times throughout every single enemy and every single other team member, and Sierra has the lowest attack speed in the game, so you gotta wait a long time if you're trying to train up Sierra with her staves. This is the only part about this game that I really hate. The practice. I hate it. But if you don't want to like get absolutely wrecked in the later levels, you should probably practice the new items that you get first. Completely up to you though. What I appreciate in this game is that each and every fight is scripted, meaning that there are absolutely none no random encounters. And after enough playthroughs, you can really optimize your team and setup because you know what to expect on screen X of Y. Some people might not like this, but I find randomly generated battles, like in Pokemon, really annoying. So this was a huge plus for me. This also ties into story items. You need to know when to throw battles, when to speedily win them, when to make a turn, or when to repeatedly check an item to get a secret dialogue or options, or when to pick something up, or when to leave it, when to intentionally walk into traps, etc.
This statue is so scantily clad. Yo! I'm grabbing her butt.
No, I'm climbing.
Your hands are squeezing so hard.
I'm trying to support my weight.
Each one of the girls also has a relationship meter with Ein, which is increased or decreased by closing a fight or dying,
Yay! Lena won! I'm sorry. I failed you all.
and you have several events in which you can gain favor with one of the girls.
Fia, are you okay?
Yes. And you, Ein?
I'm fine.
Oh, you're bleeding.
I'm fine. Now, let's go find Lena.
Yes, there's a beautiful jewel in the water.
Wow, look at that shine.
Are you sure you want to give it to me?
Or you can piss them off.
Maybe there's a switch around here.
Ah!
Huh, Fia?
Don't scare me like that.
Sorry, I couldn't see.
Stop making excuses.
I'll just go over there. Hey, it's pretty soft over here.
What the? Watch your hands, you jerk.
Ah,
Serves you right.
but I didn't mean to.
Ein?
There's an ending for each, as well as a secret ending which is relatively difficult to get, and a quote-unquote bad ending, as well as a bonus chapter played entirely in hard mode with a hard lockout. You can only advance with red trigger points, but you have to figure out in which direction, and battles are more harshly timed with stronger enemies, resulting in less trigger point accumulation. If you run out, that's pretty much it. You gotta restart. Lastly, I think there's some great memorable pieces in this game that really stick with you. My favorite being the Nelde Ruins theme, although that level is ingrained in my memory for less pleasant, more infuriating reason. If you know, you know. Then there's this banger. Since this started out as a WonderSwan game and later a Game Boy Advance game, and the one I was talking about this whole time is the PSP version, you can listen to all of the soundtracks in this game in glorious 8-bit. Overall, I love this game, and it's about 30 some hours for a single playthrough, and if you want to 100% it, expect to spend hundreds of hours on it. It can get a little repetitive, as I said, since the battles are all set in place, but you can try different configurations, weapons, try your own little challenges like no main weapons, etc. And to get each ending, you have to adjust your team to allow each girl to finish the fights. I hope you give it a try if you haven't heard of it or haven't played it yet. And if you enjoyed this video, let me know and maybe I'll make another one about another game that I used to play that I really like.